Donald Trump's pressure on the Brazilian president has been impactful, making the leader appear desperate, even causing rifts with the federal police.
The National Association of Federal Police Chiefs expressed concern over President Lula's recent statements regarding the request for all federal police chiefs on leave to return to fight organized crime.
I told the Minister of Justice to issue a statement inviting all federal police chiefs who are currently away from the federal police. Only those who are state secretaries will remain away. But those agents or chiefs who are somewhere else, pretending they're working but actually aren't, all of them will have to come back. Because we are going to defeat organized crime in this country, and we need everyone, all the chiefs and everyone else. We're working to arrest criminals in this country.
Cesar, the president's statement is complicated, isn't it?
Desperation made the president accuse police chiefs of not doing their jobs in an attempt to shift the responsibility for the national public security crisis onto the police. This heated speech exposes not only the fragility of the administration, but also the difficulty in dealing with the growing international pressure. The fear that the United States Southern Command might carry out direct operations in Brazilian waters against vessels linked to cartels has left the president visibly unsettled. The possibility of foreign intervention, even if only symbolic, creates political discomfort and pressures the government to adopt tougher measures against organized crime. In this scenario, the question arises, is Brazil about to launch a true national offensive against drug trafficking and criminal factions? Or is it all just a desperate narrative to contain external pressures? Welcome to Vida No Quartel.
Our goal is to defend the American people by eliminating the imminent threats from the Iranian regime.
Our commitment is that our objectives only increase as our advantages continue to grow.
The sudden speech by the Brazilian president, after 4 years of inaction at the federal level against the factions, reveals an unprecedented concern. This abrupt change in stance, marked by fiery declarations to fight with every force available, sounds more like a desperate response to external pressure than the result of a consistent national strategy. The lack of previous results weighs against the credibility of this new narrative, making it clear that the government is trying to regain lost ground. The advance of the Shield of the Americas, led by the United States and joined by 17 other countries, is already showing concrete results. Leaders of Brazilian factions are being captured in operations outside the national territory, showing that while Brazil hesitates, other nations act in a coordinated and effective manner. This contrast exposes the fragility of internal policy and reinforces the perception that the country is being pushed into a secondary position in the fight against transnational crime. With the FBI already operating in Paraguay and Argentina, and the CIA establishing a strategic presence in Venezuela, Brazil's surroundings have turned into a real operational cordon against drug trafficking. Logistical structures have been destroyed even on the Colombian border. Drug-laden vessels are being attacked almost daily, and high-value arrests are being made. In this scenario, the sudden change in discourse by the Brazilian president seems less like a sovereign initiative and more like an attempt to prevent Brazil from being seen as the weak link in the face of an increasingly tight international siege. The desperation of the Brazilian president after meeting with Donald Trump became even more evident when, amid forceful statements, he let slip contradictions that reveal a lack of firmness.
You know, this idea that organized crime and Brazilian factions control the territory of a city or a neighborhood when it belongs to the people. These statements are criminal, you know? That's what we have to say. And in the world as well. Starting next week, we're going to launch a plan to fight organized crime, and it's for real. Anyone who gets away by next week is fine, but those who don't won't get away at all.
By stating that those who managed to escape were fine and that the fight against crime would only start at a future date, the leader showed that he was not treating the issue with the seriousness the situation requires. This attitude weakens Brazil's image and gives the population the impression of improvisation in the face of a problem that should already be dealt with the utmost rigor. Ideally, the president should have stated that the Brazilian state is already mobilized and that stronger measures are underway, showing readiness and the ability to respond immediately. The population is demanding security today, not at some indefinite point in the future, and hesitation only reinforces the perception that the government is acting under external pressure instead of leading autonomously. This lack of clarity and firmness could become the trigger for direct actions by the Shield of the Americas against the PCC and the Red Command. The clash with the Brazilian federal police chiefs, combined with the president's attempt to blame others for the national failure in fighting crime, only worsens the credibility crisis.
Those who stay out of reach until next week are fine, but those who don't won't get away anymore.
The armed forces remain in their barracks, with highly trained soldiers for internal combat missions, but without a clear mobilization directive. This lack of coordination between institutions reinforces the perception that the government does not have a solid plan to confront organized crime. Even if the president chooses not to use all the military power in direct support of public security, there are viable alternatives. The constant presence of the armed forces in border areas with patrols and policing, the sharing of technology with state police, and the use of special forces from the three branches in joint operations with police special units could suppress the reach of criminal leaders. The problem is not the lack of resources, but rather the lack of political will to use them in a strategic and integrated way. In the current situation, it is unlikely that we will see a massive fight against crime, which continues to expand its reach to other countries.
When the operational environment is predominantly land-based, amphibious commandos are usually employed. When the operational environment is aquatic, combat divers are usually employed. But both troops have the expertise to carry out special operations from the Navy, which is the main difference compared to troops from other forces.
This omission leaves room for Brazilian vessels transporting illegal goods to be targeted by attacks from the United States Southern Command at any time. The risk of foreign intervention in Brazilian waters is real and growing, and the president's hesitant stance only reinforces the idea that Brazil is losing control over its own sovereignty in the fight against organized crime. And for those of you who want to support Vida No Quartel on this journey of tactical analysis and daily content, contribute to our initiative through the Pix QR code currently on screen, or by the Pix key available in the description and in the pinned comment. In addition, you can purchase our course, Current Conflicts, Efficient Preparation, further strengthening your knowledge and readiness. Support the channel and become part of this legion of fighters. Here at Life in the Barracks, you stay up to date with everything happening in the military world. Leave a like, subscribe, and watch one of the videos appearing on your screen. Onward, fighters. See you next time.